welcome back to another episode of the Home Turf Podcast. It's been a while, I think. 2 weeks, to be exact.
Well needed. It was
a very hectic 2 weeks. The battalion was busy cooking up in the lab, actually. We've been putting together, developing, writing, grinding on a new Maroon Life, a new spring magazine that's going to be coming out soon. So y'all be watching the stands for that. However, that explains our absence, but it's a really good magazine that a lot of our writers, including Hunter and Kay, that are here on the podcast, we're working on. I'm really proud of them and all the other writers.
What'd you say about it, Bobby?
I said it was the best magazine I've read from the battalion.
You heard it right here from Bobby O'Brien. Can I quote you on that?
Sure.
The best Maroon Life. He's been here a long time, since 2021, has put together a lot of sport magazines, and him himself said that it's the best one. So you got to check it out. You got to read Cage's story, Hunter's story. What stories did y'all write in it, actually?
I wrote my feature on Ashton Schwartzman from the men's track and field team.
Really?
I had Lamar Addison, women's track and field, high jumper, gold medalist, record holder, NCAA champion.
Oh, yeah. And there's so many other good stories in there, including a little commentary I did. I put analysis just because it sounded like way more sexy.
On the basketball team?
But it's actually a commentary.
And we'll say, Grant doesn't need anything else to inflate his ego, but that is a really good... I'm a sucker for statistical comparisons, and that...
You got the math in there?
Yeah, there's a lot of math in there. Hunter actually helped me out figure out all the statistics.
Like I said, I am a sucker for statistical 100%. Analysis.
So hey, y'all be aware. Y'all watch out for all the magazines that are about to come out. Again, that was why we were absent, but hey, we are back, and we kind of came back at the most perfect time.
I think so too.
Mm-hmm. It's like
baseball.
It's March.
Kicked into gear.
To start. Yeah. It's the best month of the year.
For sure.
Man, it is a religious holiday for me.
Oh, I love it. A lot of people argue. I as well think October is probably one of the best sports months. I don't know if y'all can agree. I mean,
yeah,
that's like
all four major
prime
sports.
Baseball, playoffs,
my birthday,
middle of football season, and the NBA's just started. So like, kinda, yeah. But if you love March Madness, if you love college basketball, then this is the best month.
October's also my birthday.
Nobody cares.
I said it 3 times. But
because nobody cares. Yeah.
Oh, word. All right, cool. Yeah, no, but March is sick.
No one recognizes it. We can. Hey, and A&M basketball is off to a hot start. We're kind of closing in on that. We're coming up to the SEC tournament. There's a game left. Women basketball.
They're playing good. They're
developing story.
Yep. It might be a little bit of a Cinderella story
In
here.
2 days have matched their SEC season win total.
They have.
How many wins did they have in the SEC?
2. They were 2-14 heading into the SEC tournament, and now they've won their first 2 games.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
First round, who was it?
They beat
Vanderbilt.
They beat Vanderbilt, who avenged. They lost to Vanderbilt earlier on in the season because Kaija Harbison dropped 41 points. Yeah. She dropped 41.
41.
Yeah, it was her career high. She did that, and then she only dropped 16 yesterday, so limited to them. But yeah.
And
in game 2, who they beat?
Mississippi State.
Didn't you actually cover that game?
No, I covered yesterday's game.
You covered the Vanderbilt game.
I had class during the game today, so I couldn't even watch it till like the last 5 minutes.
Yeah. So I mean, this podcast, we like talking about Aggie sports, especially the ones that are going off recently. So I feel like women's basketball needs to be discussed.
For sure.
What took place during that Vanderbilt game? Let's start off with the first game.
So, I mean, they came out with a hot start, which they talked about they were wanting to do because they haven't gotten out to a hot start in many of the games. They've been having to make late third quarter, fourth quarter runs, but they actually started out hot. They were up 40-33 at the half, but they were up by as much as 12 or 13, I believe, in the second quarter.
I think it got to 14. I think.
Well, I'm talking about just in the first half, in the first half. But yeah, and then I think they got up to as much as 17 in the second half. Yes, and then the fourth quarter, they were up 16 points And no, 17 points. They were up 17 points. And Vanderbilt decided to go on a 14-0 run. Turnovers.
They could not.
There was like 4 minutes left. Like, I think it was a little under 5 minutes left in the game. And Vanderbilt went on a 14-0 run. And then the last minute of the game,
Just like a full court press.
No, yeah. Vanderbilt took full court press, and they could not break them.
There was like 3 turnovers in a row one time.
Yeah, and then like I think there was a 5 second.
There was a 5 second from Aaliyah Patty.
Yeah,
and then
so it was just it got really sketchy, and they
just couldn't hit the shots at the end. Like the last minute, they couldn't hit the shots.
And then they finally started breaking the press a little bit with what they did in the regular season too. Anytime anyone would bring the press, home run ball.
Yeah.
Chunk it.
But Sydney Bowles, she had a crazy good game. She dropped her career high. She's a freshman. 22 points. She was lights out from 3-point range. 6 for 12
Joni
from
Taylor's
3.
6 for 12.
6 for 12 from 3. Yeah.
And March 1st was literally that game.
Literally, yeah.
That's like the perfect way to start off this month.
That was kind of like my lead in the article. I was on the first day of March, the Aggies lived by a phrase everyone talks about: survive in advance.
Oh yeah, if you haven't read that article, I know it's like 2 games ago. Still go read it.
Yeah.
Little shout out right there.
Appreciate it.
And then, I mean, just to start off, the first game of the SEC tournament was that game, and they started off with an upset.
Yeah.
And then we get into game 2 against Mississippi State.
Even bigger
number
upset.
5. They were number 5
seed. Not in the country, 5 seed.
Well, yeah. They're the 5 seed.
Got a few nuggets. So you talked about Sydney Bowles in that first game, 6 for 12.
Yeah.
Catch this. She had 19 points, went 6 for 8 from 3.
Today?
Yeah. 6 for
Sydney
8.
Bowles is shooting lights out.
And you
really
the even a wilder stat. Second quarter, Mississippi State scored 5 points.
Yes. A&M 21-5 in the second quarter.
Scored 18 in the second quarter.
And this was
18?
which game?
Yeah, this is 18.
Oh.
This was Mississippi State?
Yeah.
Wow.
And they really just coasted off of that till the end. They outscored them by 2 in the third quarter, and then Mississippi State matched that.
How did Janai Bark... oh my gosh, I'm going to butcher that name.
She had an okay game yesterday, and she only scored 7.
I think she went for
today's
7
game today.
yesterday too, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, she went for 7.
Yeah,
I thought she had 19 or something.
No, it's really been her teammates that have been shown out in the tournament, which is not usual.
I've seen a couple of tweets because she doesn't start.
She doesn't. She has been coming off the bench ever since she came back from injury.
Yeah,
which was what Joni
said about that on Twitter.
Yeah, they've asked Joni about it, and she's just said she's preferring her to come off the bench.
Yeah, I mean
that's less stress, honestly.
True, and the bench isn't a bad. I mean, look at last year.
I mean, she's still getting 26 minutes.
Yeah, we look at last year. Go to the men's team. Quentin Jackson coming off the bench, and he was inarguably our.
She got the third most minutes on the team, even though she wasn't
coming
starting.
off the bench doesn't mean anything.
We're not starting this right now. We're not starting.
I have you recorded.
We are not turning this into a Katie Johnson fan club.
Oh my! Okay, we won't get into that, but I will remember that after the podcast. I love that you said that. So then they took down the number 5 seed in the SEC tournament. Upset them. That's 2 upsets, and every game's going to be an upset for them.
Yeah, pretty much.
And their next game,
they're
the second to last seed. Kentucky was the last seed.
Yeah,
and they
beat Florida yesterday.
Florida?
They beat Florida yesterday in a crazy game because 8 players were ejected.
Really?
Yeah, there was a fight.
One of Kentucky's players kind of said something to one of Florida's.
She got elbow or the ball she kind of elbowed her before the inbound,
something that was
going on.
After the she got the ball.
Then she got the ball and tried to throw it at her and missed.
Just
way missed. If you ever seen Bryce Harper charge the mound and throw his helmet and just completely missed, that's exactly what it reminded me of.
I remember that. I don't think he was trying to hit him. It's like it's a little like
maybe not.
It made him
defending Bryce Harper.
Yeah, come on now.
We went from a Katie Johnson fan club.
At the time, he wasn't on the Phillies, right? He was. That's what
I think he was still on the Nationals.
No, that was with the Nationals.
He was still on the Nationals.
Yeah.
It
was in San Francisco. I'm pretty sure.
So like when he threw it at the ground, the guy ducked. So I think it was a whole tactic to get his head down. It's kind of like you ever been in a fight and you see someone throw a drink at someone's face, and that's just to like whoa,
Yeah.
and then you throw him the punch.
That is
If I ever
I
get in
can
a
see
bar
that.
fight, that's my
that is an
tactic.
extremely
actually.
in-depth analysis of Bryce Harper's mound
Yeah.
charge.
I saw that fight though. That was nuts. They're playing Alabama.
Did you think
right
we were going
now,
to talk
actually.
about that on the
Bryce
pod
Harper is
today?
playing Alabama.
I don't
No,
think
Bryce
so.
Harper's not playing Alabama.
Dude,
Bobby.
Bryce Harper is single-handedly him v.
No,
Yeah.
Kentucky's playing Alabama right now in the tournament in basketball. Which, as we're recording this, it's like 7:00 right now on Thursday. This will be posted on Friday.
Mhm.
So I don't know what's going on in that game. What if Kentucky upsets them? That'd be
Hey,
nuts.
that would be wild.
So A&M tomorrow
Uncertainty.
after South Carolina, Arkansas, they play Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
Which I think that's kind of clutch that they're not having to play
Yeah.
South Carolina or LSU.
Yeah.
The deeper you can get without having to face those teams.
Yeah.
And then they wouldn't play either one of those teams till the championship game.
Yeah, just the way the bracket
Really?
works
Yeah,
out,
if they win, they'd likely play Tennessee. I don't.
Game 8 plays the winner of Game 7. No, they'll play South Carolina
Really?
next round. Yeah.
I'm getting it all messed up. That's right. The 4 versus the 1.
Yeah.
I'm getting it all
But,
messed
I mean,
up right now.
either way, winning 2, being the lowest seed to ever make it this far in the SEC women's tournament
Yep.
is, that's
Just imagine.
huge.
I don't want to jinx nothing yet, but automatic bid if they win the tournament, though, right?
It's gonna take a lot.
Yeah, I know. Just what are the odds?
Hey.
But, also you're playing the 2 best teams in the nation in your tournament.
Yeah.
There's only one certainty at this time of year, and that is that there will be uncertainty because it is March.
That's correct.
And there is madness.
Yeah. And I mean, so shout out to A&M right now. I almost said Alabama, but I'm just getting so
no,
excited
don't
to
do
preview
that.
this match. I'm not saying that. Shout out to A&M. No matter how that game goes tomorrow, I think this is great momentum for next season.
Getting
No doubt.
3,
For sure.
We've talked about it before, getting 3 top 100 recruits again next year.
Really.
Have Shania Barker coming back, Sydney Bowles coming back.
You're only losing Aaliyah Patty. That's gonna be your biggest loss, and then Mackenzie Green as well.
Which again, we've discussed it before. I've written the commentary on it. Johnny Taylor's gonna be fine. She's gonna get her people, and she's gonna get rolling.
Let's not forget they were playing with 7 people for 5 games in a row this year. Like,
Yeah.
One below.
I can't imagine that.
One above where the league says, "All right, you can't play this game,"
Yeah.
which is nuts.
Yeah, shout out women basketball. However, this is a big weekend for another sport. And finally, I get to hear Bobby talk. I keep forgetting he's in here. He's been so
I
solid.
know nothing about women's basketball.
So, yeah.
It's one game.
Yeah, so we have our special guest photographer for the Aggieland yearbook. And one of the best photographers I know is Bobby O'Brien.
Bummer.
How you doing? We didn't get to properly introduce you.
I'm doing good. I'm coming off a weekend on the couch with the flu, but recovering nicely.
Yeah.
So this is like your flu game.
Yeah.
Post-flu game.
Post-flu.
Yeah.
With
So
the IL.
we brought him in here because, like I said, I'm beat Ryan for men's basketball right now. You're beat Ryan for women's basketball
Correct.
at the moment. However, I know you do baseball with another organization, whatever. I don't want to talk about that. But Bobby's... Hunter's a beat writer for baseball.
Wow.
Well, Hunter...
I had to
Hunter,
wave
oh
my
my
hand
gosh.
and point at myself.
Hunter knows a lot about every single A&M sport. You
That's
do. I'll
valid.
give you that credit.
That's
I'll give you that credit.
Yeah.
However, Bobby has been to every... Have you been to every game?
I mean, I have.
I've been to.
You've
every
been to a
game
lot of
except I've been to every game except 2.
Yeah.
I think I've been to.
I'm
half.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still in basketball mode right now, so it's glad that we have someone in here other than Hunter that knows a lot about, oh my gosh, NK too. Well, I'm the only one, I think,
Yeah,
doesn't-
sit down.
who's
Why
not
are you doing
updated.
this?
I don't know why I'm doing this, but however, Bobby knows a lot about baseball. We brought him in as a special guest. Thanks for being on the show for
No
one.
problem. Happy to be here.
Hey, let's get into the Shriner Classic, baby. Minute Maid Park, the best park,
Juice box.
the best park
Whoa.
in Major League.
That is.
That's controversial.
Come on now. You should have saved that for the hot take segment.
Home
'cause
of the
that
2022
was spicy. Come on now. No.
World Series champions.
I can't say anything on this.
I don't know how you can argue with that.
This year without a trash can.
We did it. I've been telling y'all we don't have to cheat, and we didn't have to cheat, and we won.
I can smell
If
the
something
rain
comes
that's
out that we
coming off
did
of you.
cheat, honestly, wouldn't be surprised. However, we won. We're 22 national champs, World Series champs. There's no asterisk by it. Let's go. And now Texas A&M baseball is playing in the same
Stadium.
arena. You see, I'm still in this basketball mindset. And they got 3 okay, I'll say 2 tough matchups.
Hey,
And
don't
then
sleep,
a
don't sleep on
rematch.
Rice.
Hey, don't
Rice.
sleep on anyone.
Don't sleep on
They-
anyone.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
especially with the start of this season. A&M's coming off a huge win, actually. Is that right, Bobby?
23 to nothing.
23-0.
In terms of magnitude of points, huge.
Yes.
In terms of quality of opponent,
Terrible.
I
The
feel
right
like-
fielder dropped 2 balls in 1 inning.
Yeah.
It's all just because Lance Berkman wasn't there. If he was there, he could have guided the
Berkman
team.
wasn't there?
No, dude,
No,
have you
he-
not
he
seen
got
his
ejected.
crazy rage?
I saw he got ejected.
Yeah,
Was
he got suspended for the game.
Wow.
I know. Ridiculous. I was looking forward to see him actually.
Dude, he was. I have this little baseball card when I was little. We got like our own little card with our positions, age of our little league team. Favorite player for like 4 years straight was Burke.
Really?
Yeah, I loved Hunter Pence too because he was on that squad.
He's a good guy.
Great guy. So I was kind of upset I missed a game, but he wasn't there, so now I don't feel bad.
I have an extra
Bro.
Astros Lance Berkman bobblehead if you want one.
If you have an extra, I would love one.
Lance Berkman's nicknames were Fat Elvis and
Fat
Big Puma.
Elvis. Yes.
Big Puma.
That's so good.
It's Killer B, man. So we're gonna let's talk about this little Houston Christian game. I think that was the perfect game, the perfect momentum heading into
Great
this.
segue.
I agree.
Shriner Classic.
So, like Hunter was saying, the opponent not good, but the fact that you were able to get your bats going because there's so much when you're up there at the plate, like you just gotta feel it come off the bat and like see that you get a hit.
Mhm.
So, for example, Austin Bose, he's been slumping, and then he goes out there, hits 2 doubles and a grand slam. That's gonna be so huge for him just mentally,
Yeah.
if not anything else.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, the bats were horrific against Portland, horrific against Peckham, Cardinals, Lamar. Oh my God, I got to shout. They're undefeated too right now. They're
Yeah,
leading up.
they beat Kansas State the day after beating us.
And they swept New Mexico State, SFA, and Houston Christian the weekend before we played them.
Jeez.
And I forgot who else. They're
Lamar.
still undefeated right now with
Baseball powerhouse.
Texas Tech. However, what do you think of that game against Houston Christian? The momentum it brings.
Baseball is a game of breaks, and that's about as big as a break you can get for your season. Is just having a nice, very easy Tuesday opponent
Calm before the storm.
before the storm going into a very big tournament.
Yeah, it's a great way to describe it right there. I mean, dude, the bats are hot. That's what I was telling my buddy too. Just the same thing you said. I mean, I don't care if this team was Houston Christian was 0-9
I think
before the game.
They hadn't won a game.
They haven't won a game yet. I mean, despite that, they're able to get their bats hot, get some hits. So I'm a lot more excited about this Shriner Classic, especially because of their first game they got coming up on the first game of the tournament against Louisville.
Rematch from the
Grudge match.
Supers.
Grudge match.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even call it. Yeah, like Bobby said, I wouldn't even call it a rematch. That's a grudge match.
Yeah.
They are going
Getting-
to be.
Swept in a super regional.
A&M didn't just beat them once in the Super Regional, twice.
2 pretty rough
Yeah,
losses.
and Louisville
Walk-off game 1.
still has had quite a bit of returners come back. They're still a very good team, and they're coming in with a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah.
What do you think of that matchup? Any of y'all?
Well,
I think they're a threat. They're absolutely
Yeah.
a threat. I think it'll be good if Detmer's starting tomorrow.
Mhm.
I think he'll take care of business. But
Yeah,
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, like, as much as the hitting's been bad, but you have Detmer going against them, so you never know.
In terms of pitching, I feel like he's been easily by far our most consistent
100%.
pitcher. Like, I know he's only pitched twice now,
Twice, yeah.
but he could have gone more innings.
Could have.
Against Portland.
Yeah, they just want to keep him on that pitch count.
Yeah.
and I reached out to the Louisville editor who absolutely knew nothing about the baseball team, and then he gave me the number of this guy who he told me was a beat writer, but was offensive line coach for some local high school team. Crazy, it was weird. So, because I just posted an article and I interviewed the Daily Torador sports editor, the Rice Thrasher. They're awesome. I'm not saying these guys at Louisville weren't awesome. They're very communicative, but the answers they gave me were like a sentence long. They didn't give me much. So, like, trying to preview this game, I'm going in there with nothing. I have no idea what Louisville's bringing. Do y'all?
Bringing a 7-1 record.
7-1 record.
They dropped one of their games against Bowling Green. They won the
Bowling Green.
series, so it's,
But that's just baseball.
that happens. You're not going to. I mean, Florida lost to Jacksonville. I think it was the other night or last night. So it happens. You're going to drop those games to
a lot of SEC teams been dropping games early, like
Tennessee to Arizona.
Yeah,
makes us look a little better.
Makes me feel a whole lot better.
But I mean, again, like you said, they have a lot of pieces returning. Their bats have been hot. They're coming off of game against Eastern Kentucky, scored 11, shut them out. Game before that against Bowling Green, scored 14, only gave up 1 run. I mean, offensively, they look. I mean, again, lesser competition, but.
Are you looking at statistics right now?
I've got them pulled up. Yeah.
Can you look at Ron McCoy, junior infielder? Because I asked him like who I need to watch out for, and all he said was Ron McCoy. That was the sentence.
Just his name.
Some transfer from. All I got was he was a transfer from this JUCO Wabash College. Wabash.
Ryan McCoy.
What
spell it?
WABASH.
Wabash. I don't know.
Wabash. That's
I've never heard of it.
And I said, "Can you give me some details on it?" And he said, GoCards.com talks more about his career.
Ryan McCoy.
Yeah, Ron McCoy. He said, "Hey, we had to watch out for anyone. That's the guy on the Louisville roster."
He's a junior. I've got his prior to Louisville stats. He was a third-team junior college All-American.
Let's see.
He's an infielder. I don't know. What was he, a second base, shortstop?
Let me.
He is currently batting 12 for 31 with 12 RBIs.
That's pretty good.
4 home runs.
That's
pretty good early on.
Like for this season?
Yes, this season.
Wow. So they weren't lying.
Yeah, his batting average is 387.
They didn't give me quantity, but they gave me quality. So, hey, if you're listening to that.
Do you know if he bats left or right?
Let's see here.
I don't have that either. I just have junior infielder.
He bats left, throws right. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yes.
I think it'll be very interesting to see how much the offense translates in a major league ballpark.
Yeah, that's another thing.
So, hey, do they have like a fence in the outfield that's shorter, or they play off?
No, they're playing off.
I mean,
the aluminum bats will help, but
yeah.
I want to see Violet hit a homer in this.
That would be nice.
Because I'm sure it'll look just like one of Jordan's homers. Probably not as far, but like the way that this dude just be hitting them 500 feet down. Okay, I'm sorry.
If he can, he just needs to make contact first.
Yeah, that's the thing with I worry about people hyping up Jace LaViolette because I think you saw a little bit in the Portland series. I think it was getting to him a little bit. I think
putting him in the 4th slot.
Yeah, I think that was too.
Yeah,
I think that was too early.
Way early.
Beginning of the series, wasn't he
6 or 7?
And then he went immediately to the 4th.
And I think you could see him. He was.
Yeah, he hit 2 home runs. He hit 2 home runs on Saturday, and then the next Sunday he was batting in the 4 hole.
He went like he struck out like I know at least on.
Yeah, he had like
4 times in a row. I think it was
something
6.
like that. He had a good game on the Sunday game that they beat Portland, and the 3 for 5, and then the walk off.
Yeah. So
which was needed for him.
If that's what we can get, that's great. I think him swinging for the fences every time is like the hits will come. Just play ball. Just take the ball, swing at strikes.
Yeah.
Don't press the issue. Mm-hmm. Just make contact, and if you're making contact, they will come, because if you have that natural ability to find the ball in the strike zone, you are gonna rip some out of the park, and it's just gonna happen. But at the end of the day, you don't win games by how many home runs you had. You win by how many runs you get.
That's beautiful. Can I quote that too?
Yo, yeah, you put that on a shirt.
We're just spitting quotes on this.
No one's gonna wear that.
Watch out for podcast merch.
We're my goodness.
Yeah, I definitely want some of that merch. We need to make shirts. We'll get into that later. However, game 2 they play Rice.
Rice, the side dishes.
Which this won't be the first time we play them this season.
Not once. But not twice.
But 3 times.
But 3 times.
We play them home, away, and neutral site.
We get the trifecta,
and I think
the triple crown of Rice baseball.
I think Hunter covers all 3 of those.
I probably will.
I think he covers 2.
The neutral and the
away.
And the away.
Yeah.
I'll vie for home.
Do you want to
just
go to
so
Rice?
Yeah.
We can go to Houston for the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk to the editors about that
A
one.
Wednesday night trip to
Yeah,
Rice.
Go to drive to Houston to go cover Rice.
I'll
Probably
stop
not.
at Buc-ee's.
I try
Are
to
you
limit.
going?
I try to
I
limit.
can. Do you want to go?
We'll talk about it.
I try to.
All right.
If y'all go, I'll ride with y'all.
All right.
Straight up.
road
Yeah,
trip.
I try to
Road
limit
trip.
how many times I go to Houston, but
Hey man, that
Hey,
that
come
was
on
the
now.
closest
Whoa,
metropolitan
okay, man.
area that I grew up to. So
I think all of us. I think he literally grew up inside it. So you're
that was the
outnumbered.
weirdest way you could have.
That's
said that
okay.
I grew up in.
Did not grow up inside
You
of
did grow up-
Houston.
Oh, you grew up like Tomball, huh?
The Woodlands.
The Woodlands.
The Woodlands.
Oh,
Grant. That
Okay, the Woodlands
that
is a
was
really
the
nice
weirdest
area,
way
so-
You could
It is,
have.
lovely.
did you go to the Woodlands High
I
School?
went to Magnolia High School.
Okay.
I
I've
was
never
gonna
heard
say
of
that's
that.
the weirdest way
Less
you could
proud
have
of that.
said.
It gets a lot more quiet when you say Magnolia High School.
go on, honey.
Anyway, that was the weirdest way you could have said that Bobby grew up in.
Grew up inside
Did you
of
grow up
Houston.
inside of it?
Great, you just like spawn, just like
Yeah,
in it.
just you like you
And
just, you just popped.
I burst from a manhole.
from the Houston manhole.
I'm pretty sure that's how
Crawled out of the
never mind.
mine.
I'm not gonna. I
Gosh.
don't want to disrespect any Houstonians.
Speaking of Houston, this Saturday they play Rice for the second time. And the guy there gave me a lot of inside scoop because I had all I knew is they were 3-5.
Yeah, with
I mean, they're kind of average again.
sweat.
below
I mean,
average.
to be fair, it was a sweep against number 2 Stanford. So, and Sam Houston's not anything to scoff at either, and they won their last game coming into this. So
So they're coming off.
they've
a
actually
win.
beat Sam Houston twice. But yeah, they are coming off a win. They lost series opener to Lafayette. Or sorry, University of Louisiana. They get mad.
Yeah.
Lafayette. But yeah, like you said, kind of, meh.
Wow, they took both games from Sam Houston.
Yeah.
Well, they have a new coach. I think this is his second season there.
Mhm.
Jose Cruz. I don't think it's the Jose Cruz that played for the Stros. Oh, y'all don't.
The who?
Yeah,
Just kidding.
whatever.
What? Who's that?
This is Jose Cruz
Still
Jr.
Rose?
He still played in the pros. He played for Detroit, the Padres, Toronto, and this is his second year as a coach here. And a lot of people there are saying he's kind of meeting expectations or like the progress that they're coming. This should be in a walk in the park game. However, so should have
Although,
Portland. So
yeah.
should have Lamar, and they just weren't.
There's no walks in the park, I'd say, especially if you've been asked to play like on this stage. I think there's a reason, not just because they're in Houston. I feel like Rice may. I mean, they may get 3-0 swept. I mean, but I think they also may have the capacity to possibly steal one from somebody. They do have maybe the most difficult track of anyone in the Shriners Classic with Texas Tech, Texas A&M, and TCU.
Yeah, because
That's rough.
Yeah, that is a hard pull.
well, this was supposed
It's gonna
to
be some fried rice.
Michigan was supposed to be in their spot, huh? Rice.
Yeah, it's supposed to be Michigan.
Yeah,
Which kinda sucks.
That would have been. I would have loved to see that, but
Yeah.
you know,
They showed us a steak and gave us a
Now we got to play Rice for a third
tuna
time this year.
sandwich.
Rice.
So,
Come on.
I feel bad.
this has all been.
I feel
this has all
bad.
been a passive aggressive burn of.
Yeah.
Rice.
So
Burn
hey, let's
Rice.
hype up
Some
Rice a
fried
little
rice.
bit.
Let's honor former sports editor Jordan Epp and not.
Jordan, if you're listening,
Yeah, smack about
Rice
Rice.
is really good academically.
We love Rice and we love your dad.
And we
Jordan.
also
No,
love
and
Beats.
I love the sports editor there who's very communicative. They're awesome over there.
Shout
And he
out
gave
to
us
the-
he gave us a lot of names to watch out for.
Shout out to the Thresher.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Let's hear 'em.
Is that theirs? That's the desk.
Thresher, not the
thre-
Thrasher. The Thresher.
Thresh. Oh, the bird.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it's just some names to look out for. I gave y'all the coach, but right-handed pitcher Matthew Linsky. Supposedly his fastball is just nuts. I don't know how fast he's throwing it, how fast he's humming it. But if we see him, he's a reliever, so we could
Okay.
possibly see him. He's not a
Mm.
starter.
I was going to ask.
So he's
Yeah.
a possible. He's a reliever.
Is that
So-
Lindsay with a D or just Lindsay?
Linsky,
Oh,
Linsky.
Linsky.
Matthew Linsky, which I tried looking him up earlier, and they're showing me some MLB guys.
From Atascocita High School.
Oh.
From a
Let's
test.
see.
I was so proud when I figured out how to say Atascocita.
Yeah, and they have a few infielders too. who are pretty dominant. They're in the middle of the lineup and can hit pretty good. Manny Garza's the catcher, but they have two infielders, Jack Riddell. I'm gonna say Riddell, and Pierce Gallo. I'm sorry.
Any
Gallo.
relation?
I don't know. I didn't look. I should have looked it up. I saw it.
For A&M's sake, hopefully, because
Hopefully
then
not.
Yeah, hopefully not.
So
hopefully swing through everything, and if he
Hey,
if suddenly he makes contact,
That's
it's
New
gonna
York.
go far.
Yeah,
But
that's
Texas
just
Ranger Joey Gallo is a very different.
I
Joey
guess.
Gallo.
not really.
yeah.
It wasn't too much better.
but
As a Rangers fan, sadly, it wasn't too much better.
Yelich, am I right? Comeback season.
That's pretty off track, but sure.
I have no dog in the sun. I'm a Brewers fan, so anytime.
Oh, okay,
anytime
I get it now.
There's the Astros Rangers like beef going on.
Oh,
right
okay.
now. We got a Mets fan in here.
Let's go Mets, baby.
We got a big mix.
Shout out to Grom.
Shout out to Grom.
To Linsky. Just backtracking a
Has he
little
thrown
bit.
a game yet, or a
He's
bullpen
thrown
session, or
three.
Yes, he
anything?
has.
He's
Oh,
thrown-
yeah.
It was the one. It was the one day.
Oh,
y'all
sure,
talking
The
about-
first day.
Okay,
It's never just
All right.
one day.
God. Anyway, Linsky has pitched 3 games, has 2 wins.
Hey,
His game
Kay, do you
against-
remember that?
He
my-
sucked.
I'm joking. Go on. Go on.
Game against Louisiana pitched 3 2/3 innings and had 8 strikeouts.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 earned runs, 2 hits, but
That's coming out of the bullpen too.
Yeah, and then
didn't do well against Stanford.
Game against Sam Houston went 3 1/3 innings and had 5 strikeouts.
Wow.
So-
Wow.
And I don't know who they played first, Tech, or they'll probably throw them in all 3 games. Huh?
They played
That's
Tech
what we hear.
first, then us, then TCU.
With innings like that, I don't know if you can go back to.
Yeah.
Especially yeah.
He won't throw all 3. It's
So
just-
I ended up asking this guy. So I'm thinking it's in Houston, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So no, I ended up asking him a question. I think he was pretty upset because he answered every question like pretty lengthy, and this one was like a sentence, and he was kind of like salty. But I asked him like, "Are we expecting a big home crowd from Rice?" Because it's in Houston.
Yeah.
They're only, I guess, if you have to give them a good sport, it's baseball. I mean, I know they were good in the past a while ago.
Yeah.
I don't know how they've been recently. They haven't been that good recently. But I asked him, he goes, "Nah, Rice has 4,000 students."
Ooh.
And I kind of was like, "Hey, can you count?" And he was like, "Well, Minute Maid has like 41,000 seats." I was like, "Okay." And I was just kind of like, well, you're still expecting a lot of fans to come. But he talked about how they used to be good a decade ago, but it's kind of hard to imagine showing out for a team that hasn't been above 500 in 6 years.
I feel like it has a little bit, not as much so because Stanford's good right now. My thing is, if you watch like last year, you watch Stanford's regional, I watch all the regionals as they're going on because obviously, but you watch all the other regionals, something happens, everyone goes crazy. Like you watch the Greenville regional, East Carolina, they're going nuts. Something happens, they're going crazy. You watch Stanford and it's like, oh, it feels like a midweek game.
Didn't Rice just upset
They beat
Stanford?
No.
No, who beat Stanford?
No. They did beat Iowa and Kansas State. But what I was saying about that is
Who?
Yeah.
Rice?
Was it GCU?
No, not Rice. Sam Houston did, and Rice beat them twice.
Okay.
Tennessee lost to GCU.
Tennessee lost to GCU.
Yeah, that's right.
But anyway, I was getting to, Rice's academic prowess means I feel like a lot of alumni probably don't care about what Rice does.
All of Rice's alumni are in an emergency room performing hard surgery.
Yeah, whereas a lot of A&M's alumni and Texas Tech's alumni and TCU's alumni, they get time to go find some things to do.
Yeah, no, they're out there achieving big things. So I found it. No, they hung with the top 5 Stanford team. Rice played Stanford and they hung around with them.
Yeah.
6-3,
So
11-1, 7-4.
But like I was telling, I know transitive property is a kind of a dumb thing to go off of sometimes, but they did beat Sam Houston State twice, and Sam Houston State did beat Iowa and Kansas State. So
hey, could be a good game, could be a horrible game, but could be a blowout in A&M's favor. watch the game on Saturday and find out.
I'm most excited for the Sunday game.
That's
Sunday.
what I was literally
The
about to say.
nightcap.
You took it right out of my mouth.
We're on
It's
that wavelength, man.
beautiful, beautiful.
I despise Texas Tech.
Yeah, I know. Hey, I'm glad you said that. But anyways, we play an undefeated Texas Tech team who has yet to lose this year, and they're hot. And there's a couple.
Red hot.
There's one guy I definitely want to talk about. Couple guys to watch out for. However, it's going to be a great game. I'm glad you brought that up because I asked them because we haven't played. A&M hasn't played Texas Tech since 2017 in baseball.
I think that was at the Shriners as well.
It said Houston. It was a neutral site.
It was at Shriners, yes.
Yeah, and I think A&M won. A&M did win. Sure. They did win to be exact. And I asked him, I was like, "Is there any beef in between, just coming, asking, coming from Texas Tech? I know they really don't care about Texas Tech. It's more Texas and other SEC schools, all that.
They hate A&M for sure.
They do. That's what he told me. He was like,
"Wow."
But he said too.
I don't want to be that guy, but I don't really lose much sleep over Texas Tech.
Yeah. Well, no. He said this. He said, to be fair though, he said Tech has beef with every interstate.
That's true.
program.
I feel like I feel like I'd care more about us playing Baylor or Texas Tech than I would some other school not in Texas. I feel like there's a little bit of juice added to that because it's not like we didn't all used to play each other 10 years ago.
Now, one thing they were salty about was, and they said they still are salty about, is A&M taking Micah Dallas from their hands. They said fans are still salty about Micah Dallas coming to A&M and leaving Tech.
They wanted the Pringles.
They wanted the Pringles. Was that Micah Dallas's thing?
No, it was Schloss.
It was
what do they call him? The Minister of Culture? Isn't that Micah Dallas' title?
Yeah.
I miss that guy.
But
it stinks that A&M only got a year out of him.
Yeah, he was great.
With the A's now? Yeah, the A's.
Yeah. According to from the people I've talked to, expect a bigger crowd from the Rice game. From the Texas Tech game than the Rice game.
Well, yeah,
I can imagine.
There's going to be quite a bit of few Texas. It's on that
Sunday at 7 p.m. You think a lot of people are, especially if they're from Lubbock.
It's true.
They got to get back and tend to the cattle.
Houston.
If from downtown Houston, if they stay till the bottom of the ninth inning, I think they could actually miss an 8 a.m. driving back to Lubbock.
Well, to be fair, there's kind of so much at A&M, not as much. There's Tech fans everywhere.
Yeah.
I grew up around a bunch of Tech
Houston
fans.
Is big.
Yeah, Houston. So there could be quite a bit of fans there. I know one thing, what Tech does, they have a bar in New Orleans. They have a bar in Dallas where all the Texas Tech fans from the area go and watch Texas Tech games. And I bet you we could find one when we go in Houston.
Like the A&M clubs and stuff.
I guess does A&M have little bars?
There are places like that in Dallas.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
I knew Tech has one. I've been to the one in Dallas.
I remember going to watch an A&M Sam Houston State football game that was on pay-per-view at an A&M bar in Dallas.
Really?
Yeah.
That's it's pretty cool. So there could be a lot of Tech fans creeping out of the dirt coming to watch this game.
Oh.
Yeah,
I won't tolerate too much Texas Tech slander because my younger sister did just accept admission to Tech.
Hey, good for her. I'm sorry. That's my last slander because I was about to start hyping them up real quick.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah. When I was looking at schools, actually, I wanted Tech was on the list. I actually wanted to go to Tech, but then I saw how far away it was from literally everywhere in Texas.
Yeah. What's wrong? You didn't like the smell of cow turds?
Mm-mm. And there's something called the Raider rash. I heard.
Oh, right. We're not
gonna. I'm joking.
Don't drink the Lubbock water either.
I have some nuggets for you. So, 10 games played, Texas Tech, right?
Yes.
They have scored double digits in 6 of those games, including 24 against Western Illinois, 14 also against Western Illinois, 18 against Air Force. They have not scored less than 6 the entire year.
Yeah.
So they are...
Good luck, Chris Cortez.
They are scorching hot right now.
I think that's a big thanks to this guy that, from the sports editor there at the Daily... What's he even called? Torador. Named Gavin Cash, sophomore infielder. He was a transfer from Texas last year. He's batting a .538.
Oh.
He has 4 home runs. And he is tied for first in Division I baseball right now in RBIs with 19.
Dude, that's it?
Slinging. Yeah. Well, that's like 2 a game. That's like 2 RBIs
They also
a game.
have
Dude, that's what I average. That's what I averaged in high school. And there's just no cameras on.
someone that A&M fans should be familiar with is Ty Coleman.
Oh,
Also on.
he's still there.
He's there 5th year.
Wow.
5th year, but this is 2nd year at Tech.
What happened? Did Hunter Coleman graduate?
Yes, he was a lot older than Ty.
Yeah,
So.
I know they had a couple years put here. I honestly forgot that he transferred to Tech.
Yep, he's still there.
That's crazy. Awkward.
Yeah, so as far as pitching goes, he mentioned 3 pitchers: Josh Sanders, Brandon Beckel, and a freshman, Damian Bravo.
What a name.
Coming out of the bullpen, showing some stuff. I mean, they're deep, they're hot. We know one thing about baseball: if you're hot, then you're hard to stop.
Yep.
If the train's rolling, it's hard to stop. I mean,
one thing
I think I don't know which game I'm more excited about. I think probably this Texas Tech game.
I think Texas Tech is. I think a lot of people are focusing on Louisville because it's the first game.
Yeah,
Super regional.
obviously.
I think Tech could sneak up. One thing that's interesting about both A&M and Texas Tech, this is both schools' first time away from home this year. So it'll be interesting to see how.
98 miles isn't exactly far.
Well, I know, but it's a different place, a lot different environment. Like, I'm not talking about like travel toil. I'm talking about like different ballpark. You get used to your ballpark, how you adjust. It's gonna be quieter than any game.
Oh, yeah.
Probably both schools have played.
Don't think there won't be some ball fives if
no,
that
yeah,
happens.
there will. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how each team adapts to, again, being on the road. And Shosh talked about it in his press conference. A lot of these players have played at Minute Maid before, but also a lot of these players grow up being Astros fans, and playing in Minute Maid Park is it's a big deal.
Yeah.
I don't care what you'd say, like, oh, it's just another game. It's storied ballpark.
Hey, this guy though, if this tells you one thing, even though they're undefeated right now, I asked every one of them their predictions on the game. Louisville, the guy of course said Louisville's going to smack A&M, but I think that's just for some, they're butthurt from last year.
They are.
This Texas Tech dude thinks the Aggies are still going to win.
Really?
Yeah, he said 9-7 Aggies.
You should have told him to watch the Portland series.
Yeah, I was so confused. I was like, whoa. I said,
I wonder if
5-3
they have problems with their Sunday starter. What's their Sunday schedule looking like?
So let's see. I'm just gonna look up just based on just strictly like scores right now.
Yes.
They've given up. So Sunday, their first Sunday they gave up 3.
Okay.
Next Sunday they gave up 8.
He told me who the Sunday pitcher was going to be.
What did he say about him?
Taber, Taber or Tabor?
I don't know. What's his last name?
Taber.
Fast.
Was that his last name?
Taber Fast.
His last name
A lefty.
Taber Fast.
Like Fast.
Wow.
He's a freshman.
That is top 10 names.
Honestly, that's a shortstop name though.
Taber Fast.
Yeah, that's not a pitcher's name.
Washington.
No one.
All right, let's check his stats in the year.
But however, he said, like the coach has been extremely high on him. However, he had a rough start against Western Illinois, like you said.
He had a rough start against Gonzaga. He went 2 innings against Gonzaga.
Yeah, he hasn't been too hot lately, so that's probably why he's thinking.
Although it looks like he left Gonzaga because it was
pitch count.
It was kind of going. He only pitched 25 pitches against Gonzaga,
And they pulled him?
Apparently.
Wow.
I mean, they won that game handily. Western Illinois gave up 7 hits, 4 runs, all earned, 1 walk, 3 doubles. Interesting. Wow, his 4 hits he gave up were 3 doubles and a triple.
You only gave up 4 hits, and those were the hits?
3 doubles and a triple. Yeah, that's extremely interesting. Went 5
3
innings.
doubles and a triple on 25 pitches?
No. The second game, Western Illinois. He went 71 pitches against Western Illinois. So on the year,
I mean,
not really. I mean, at
if
this
he
point
doesn't
in the
turn
year,
it around, it could be
at this
good
point in
game
the
for
year,
him.
his ERA is 5.14. But when you look at our pitching staff as well,
yeah.
and our hitting, truthfully,
Yeah.
it's too early in the season to tell. It's going to be a very interesting series in general. It's going to tell a lot about every team, honestly, because I don't think anyone has really played anyone that difficult in terms of the teams in the Classic.
Yeah.
So this is going to be really interesting for all teams. But
it's going to be a real exciting Classic, and I'm glad.
Shriners Classic.
Shriners,
children's
Classic. It's for the children.
It's for the children.
We love the
It's for the
children
children.
here.
We love the children here. I was gonna say real quick that I can't wait to spend the weekend with y'all. I wish Cade was there. Cade, are you going? Are you covering?
No,
for...
I gotta go to a funeral.
Oh, that's right.
Just skip it.
Sorry.
Nah, it's okay.
Just skip it.
She'll understand. It's tech. Come on now.
It's Cade. I mean, yeah.
Like, let me shoot that prayer up.
Well, no, but actually, if any one of y'all have like an AT&T Sportsnet Southwest login,
I do,
please hit
actually.
me up. Please hit me up with that login because I don't know how I'm gonna watch the games, and that's kind of freaking me out.
No, I actually do. I got it
So
just because.
so swing the username and
Yeah.
password, please.
No, I got it because that's the only way I could watch Stroh's games.
Oh,
And
yeah,
so I got that.
Yeah, swing it my
Excited
way.
to spend it with you, Bobby. Hunter, I can't wait for you to come up there on Saturday. It's going to be a good time. We're going to cover. We're going to take great picks, write great stories.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to have a little fun at night. That all
Bible
Whoa.
What do you mean
Bible
by fun at night? The games are at 7 p.m.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
talking
the
about
fun.
night.
Yeah, like Bible
Night,
study.
night.
Like writing your game recap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Getting.
that's what I meant.
Getting quotes.
We're
It's
gonna be
all
a lot of
drinking
fun.
Coffee or Red Bulls and doing our work for
Dude,
the
I'm
battalion.
drinking herbal tea and meditating after the game. I don't know what you're talking
You
about.
drink-
dude.
Tea after 8 p.m. How do you sleep?
You drink coffee after 8 p.m.?
I don't drink coffee.
All right, valid. All right, we ready? Ready for this?
One of Kate's spicy hot takes.
Another
Hot
one
takes.
coming back. My hot take from last time's looking pretty bad right now because the Mavs are struggling.
Yeah.
And Kyrie and Luka are like 3 and 5 together now. But anyways, this one, I guess y'all might agree with it a little bit more maybe, but my hot take, it's gonna kind of lead us into our next segment too, is Brandon Miller should not be playing basketball right now.
Don't drop the mic, but
Wow.
figuratively drop the mic.
Glad you brought that up because that's not even a hot take, but that's a hot topic right now in college basketball
Mm-hmm.
and especially men's college basketball actually. So I've been reading a lot of stuff and I was hoping that guy from Bama would come on today just because like as a beat writer for basketball kind of clear it up a little bit.
Yeah.
This I've heard quite a few things. I heard something, I think it was from you, Hunter, about how he blocked off the exit.
Yeah, there's a lot on the table here that doesn't get talked about, I don't think, enough. And it's, again, that's the
I
reason
feel bad.
it's a hot take.
I don't
but-
want to accuse anyone of anything. I only hear what I hear.
Anyone of anything, just drop
I'm not
it.
saying he should be in jail.
I'm not saying
I'm just saying
he
there's
should-
got to be some kind of like punishment here.
disciplinary.
He drove the murder weapon to the person. Like, come on now. It's got to be some kind of
to
punishment.
the person who gave it to the person.
Yes,
Which he didn't.
Still.
Was it his gun?
it wasn't his gun, but
So if you had
And-
my
the original report that came out, that text, is that legit? Because the text said like the
Oh my gosh,
heater
I'm
is
ready.
in the chamber or something like that. Like
yeah, it was
that he sent that. If that's true, but that's what the original report
that
was
guy
in the
did
article.
tell him he needed it because some girl was. I forgot the word they used. We read it the other day in the office. I read y'all the messages the other day. I forgot because I was trying to translate them myself, and it sounds like he knew, like he gave him the gun because he was going to use it for. This
And then
reason.
him making fun of the whole situation with the pat down intro.
Yeah,
Well,
Did you
now,
see
hold on.
that?
Be devil's advocate. That was his intro the whole season.
That's what I was
Really?
about to
But,
say.
yeah,
It was his thing.
It's
It was the whole season.
Okay,
but
I
you
didn't
have
know
to
that.
be
Okay.
cognitive whenever there's
Yeah, be
stuff
smart
around
here.
you, and like you got to think about that a
Yeah.
little bit. But the nugget that you brought up, Graham, is Miles and Davis walked away. The Miles, Davis charged in the case, walked away from the victim's Jeep, but later returned. 2 vehicles, a Dodge Charger and a Dodge Challenger, which wonder how those student athletes got a hold of those 2 vehicles, man.
Nick
Dude,
Saban's
you
car
know how many
dealership.
Dodge Challengers that catch athletes driving here.
Yeah, I know.
It's
NIL.
nuts.
NIL. Anyway, the two vehicles that belonged to Miles' teammates, Brandon Miller and Bradley, were blocking the road where the Jeep was parked. So they could have just.
How come that hasn't talked about?
They
Like, how
could have
come?
just been parking there. Your point. Like you said, you're not saying he should be arrested, but
I think at the very least he needs to.
I think there's need to be further investigation.
Well,
Maybe
not
like
that. I think if you take I think if it's a role player, I think first off, I think
Role player, you cut them from the team, but you have the six.
I think if it's a role player, I don't think this gets talked about as much as it is. To be completely honest with you,
Yeah.
I think the fact that it is Brandon Miller, who's going to win SEC Player of the Year, who's going to be a lottery pick.
Yeah.
I think this adds some heat to it, as it always does, like with big athletes. You know, if you're a big name, you're a big brand, you're going to stand out.
However, Nate Oates, I promise you, if this was a role player, he
Yeah.
would have been removed from the team.
I mean, I think the most fair thing you can say about the entire situation is just that Nate Oates has handled it
very
terribly.
poorly.
That's why I'm
Very
glad you
poorly.
brought that up, because that quote he said after he said wrong place at the wrong time.
Incorrect.
Yeah.
'Cause he put himself
Seriously.
in that place.
I
He
think
brought
But
himself.
he's
to that
also
place.
saying that he was at the place at the wrong time.
Yeah, I know.
But
The
like he
place-
was there.
Yeah,
The fact that he was saying he was there.
He wasn't. Yeah, it's not like Brandon Miller's just walking down the street and it was like, "Oh man, this is going down." No, he drove himself to there and put himself in that
one of his
situation.
teammates.
Yeah, so it's not just wrong place, wrong time, because to him it was the right place because he brought himself there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's a whole thing after the Bama game where they asked him. It's this guy, one of the reporters there, who I did an interview last semester with for football, but he's now a big reporter for his other news station. And he asked him about all the emotions, like how's this win feel after everything y'all been through the last month? And Nate Oates started crying, and I was just like, dude, cry me a river. Just like what? Like y'all
Yeah,
brought it on yourself.
Bro,
Like
someone died. Like,
Like
I think
someone-
that,
Someone wasn't. They were murdered.
yes.
Not only that,
someone was
a mother of 4 children.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
that's what I'm saying.
I think that's what gets looked over so much in this whole situation is that, like, Brandon Miller,
the emotions y'all went through. Imagine that family.
Yeah.
this student athlete who's so good is going through all this turmoil and all, and so it's handling that. But like, think about the family that had someone
Exactly.
taken away from them. Like,
Exactly.
and so it's bigger than a game. It's at the end of the day, you're chunking a ball into a circle.
Yeah. So in terms of this being a hot take, I think this is a take that people here agree with. People probably everywhere agree with. However-
I think the only people in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, I think this would only be
The
a
people
hot
with 2
take,
teeth.
which
are
I'm
gonna-
glad you brought that up. I'm glad we talked about it. Would be in Tuscaloosa. And speaking of Tuscaloosa, do you want to go on?
I think this. I don't want to Is there wood around here?
It's gonna be interesting.
This is probably wood.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak for every other fan base, but from what I've seen circulating around the internet, a lot of SEC schools are rooting for the Fighting Texas Aggies this weekend. I've seen Tennessee people. I've seen Kentucky people.
Yeah.
I've seen so many Auburn people.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know what? They didn't really help A&M out much yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't.
To be
help.
So-
fair, the refs didn't really help Auburn much too. That last foul that Janai Broom got was not a foul. He was grabbed by the arm and ripped to the ground.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Dude,
but we can
Broom
spend.
has, to be fair, he hasn't gotten much help.
It's
all
going to be
season.
interesting to see, the way, because all the taunting that goes on where we're standing. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with Brandon Miller.
talk from administration that is not going to be tolerated.
I'm going to be keeping my mouth shut. That's all I got to say.
That is, there's already been talk
Wait, what's up?
about going around the student section from higher ups for the Saturday's game to make it about the game, not about anything else.
Because of what's.
We'll see how they
What's
can
going
corral
on?
that.
But at the end of the day, we are either the first or second largest university by enrollment in the country, and the fact that this is going on and how many students we have and how big of a game this is, people are already camping. Last game of the year against Bama, number 2 in the country. There is zero chance that they quench that completely.
I totally understand wanting to keep it about the game. Like, obviously, Brandon Miller is innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
A prosecutor has decided that there's no charges to be brought against him as of this moment. But it just feels wrong.
Yeah.
It does. And I'm glad. And let's end it at that.
Yeah.
Let's
also
go on.
offer our condolences to the Harris family.
Of course,
their
too.
loss.
Of course, I'm glad you brought that up. Let's offer our condolences to that family, to her kids, and it's just tragic. The whole incident in itself is horrible.
Just a bad situation. And,
yeah, and
the sport is fun. Let's not lose
Yeah.
sight of the tragedy.
Yeah. And it gets like I said, at the end of the day, you're chunking a ball into a hoop. Like it's just a sport. It's
So hey, this Alabama team, no matter what they do off the court, on the court, they're crazy good.
Yeah.
Brandon Miller is one of the best college basketball players. I ain't gonna like off the field, off the court stuff aside.
Yeah.
He's crazy good.
Yeah.
And this is the Alabama team that hasn't lost since they lost to Tennessee in Knoxville.
Not only that,
And before that,
4 losses. Their last loss before that was
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Which that's Grant Sherfield had I think 30-point game.
Did you just shout yourself out for someone else's name?
It's just Grant's run deep on the court.
From the Lord of layups himself.
Yeah. Anyways, this is a good team. They're 26-4, second in the nation, 16-1 in conference. Crazy good team. I want to pick them apart and talk about one, who do they have, and for 2, what needs to be done by A&M to stop them.
Well, I mean, we could spend 40 minutes talking about Brandon Miller.
Which I think everyone else. Let's just say that everyone listening knows how good Brandon Miller is.
Yes, Brandon Miller is very good at these.
He's good at basketball.
He's very good at basketball. I'll love to talk about the other guys they have on their court. You want to start us off, Hunter?
So I mean, first of all, one person I feel like kind of got pushed to the wayside with all of Bama's really good freshmen they have coming in. Javon Quinterly, transfer from Villanova, that's been there Yeah, he's been there for a minute, but now coming off the bench, I mean, had a great game against Auburn.
Yeah.
He gives him that, he's 24.
Even though he comes off the bench, similar to my boy, he's one of those guys that you'll catch at the end of the game.
Yeah.
In the crucial moments, similar to my guy. We won't go in there. We won't go to that.
Crucial moments.
But
dribble for 15 seconds against
Quinterly. Did you see that spin move he had on that fast break?
Yeah.
Dude, he's just unreal. He's someone that they definitely need to watch out for.
I mean, you got Bediako, who great big man, holds the paint well, so much better than he was last year. At some games last year, he was a liability, but now he is their big man.
1.6 blocks. What's that in the nation? It's got to be.
Not sure, but I mean, he is good.
Yeah.
And then you have Noah Clowney, who's 6'10", another stud freshman.
Yeah. And I think one of the most since there's so many good guards in the SEC, I feel like Mark Sears is one of the most underappreciated.
No, 100%. Yeah.
Which he's so good. However, you're in the same SEC, you're in the same conference as guards like Wendell Green, like Ziegler, like Wade Taylor,
Matthew Morrell, Kobe Brown, Demoy Hodges. Yeah.
You have a thing with Matthew lately.
He's so underrated, and I think he needs more attention.
But nah, for real, Mark Sears, he's one of those guys that will play the whole game, plays 30 minutes a game, and he can score. He gets his teammates involved,
and and people forget he was on that Ohio squad.
Yes, dude, I was gonna talk about that. Yes, he's legit. I mean,
he's good.
However, what I like the first half of SEC ball, he was hooping, and I don't know if y'all noticed this, but recently, Bama's, which is a pretty good strategy, their strategy at the end of the game is to give Brandon Miller the ball. And I don't say that a lot. Like, I like to be actually technical with people's game plans and stuff. But at the end of the South Carolina game, at the end of, I guess you can kind of, not really Auburn much, but This dude, they give him the ball, set multiple screens. He's running off screens, trying to get the ball, and he's driving to the lane, drawing the foul.
I mean,
And
I don't want to be that guy, but I feel like if I was a basketball coach and I had Brandon Miller in my team, I feel like that would be my strategy most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I'm not saying
like
I would do the same thing. They have other guys who are pretty good, but lately Brandon Miller's been the main guy.
Lately,
and
throughout the whole season, he's been there, dude.
What? I meant near the end of the game.
Yeah, no,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
he's just been
in the situations that they've been in early in the season. He was playing pretty good, but you had Mark Sears dropping 20-some points in the games. Noah Clowney was eating up at the beginning of the season. Lately, I've just been seeing 24, 41, 30-point games from Brandon Miller near the end of the SEC conference.
He honestly had not his great, well, at least the start, not I think his greatest night against Auburn. But I mean, you keep feeding him the ball, he's going to eventually score.
And they are feeding him
inevitably.
a lot.
In fact, let's check out the Auburn game for Bama. Yeah, I mean, he still had 17.
Yeah.
But only 1 for 6 from 3, which is unlike him. Only 3 for 12 from the field, truthfully.
Yeah.
But I mean, 10 for 11 from 3 throws. But Noah Clowney, 17. Mark Sears, 17. We talked about Javon Quinterly, 24. I mean, they've got
last game.
They've got ball players across the court, and it's going to need to be elite defensive.
South Carolina, do they have a big man?
Bediako, right?
South Carolina.
Oh, South Carolina. Sorry.
I mean, South Carolina's definitely got one. If he's worth anything, it's a
because Brandon Miller got to the rim. Hella.
And they were just torching guards.
And I'm just worried that with this game against A&M, we're not very big in the paint. We're not at all. How are we going to stop a guy like Brandon Miller who's going to be charging into the paint and just go? How are we going to stop these guys like Bediako in the paint? How are we going to stop these big men that...
For Brandon Miller, I got one solution for you. He's an X factor.
Talking about
a Dex factor.
If he plays,
he's a menace. I think he is going to play.
Yeah, is he going to play?
I'm pretty I mean, obviously it's too early now.
Honestly, I wouldn't play him.
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
I think he.
They're not playing for SEC title anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, dude.
But you still play.
I'd give him another game. I'd give him another game to rest.
Like Alabama right now
would bump you up a seat.
It would.
That's what I'm saying. Like when it comes to terms of March
it would, but I don't know. I think you give him another rest.
I mean, I don't think it's really with how like randomly it came out. Like Buzz, like there really was no word like after the game that he was injured. It was just kind of like we're not playing him. We're on the road at Ole Miss. Like no offense to Ole Miss, but that's not really like that's not Bama at home. I think obviously we don't know this.
I mean he was good enough to play. He got hurt in the middle of the Mississippi State game and played the rest of the game.
Yeah, so
after.
I don't think it's that serious, and I think you also have to think about it. If he's good enough to play, I think 5th-year senior Dexter Dennis is probably gonna want to try to guard the lottery pick at home against the number 2 team in the country.
Yeah, I mean, A&M's.
I want to speak for him, and again, I don't know the severity of the injury, but just his tenacity and what kind of player he is, and how he plays and how he defends, I think he'll want this shot too.
I'm so mad I'm not watching it live. I'm so upset.
Really? Where are you gonna be?
I'll be in H-Town covering baseball.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, because I would love to see Brandon Miller just for starters in the warm-up line. And seeing him just go ham on that rim. However, I'll get to see him in Knoxville, so I ain't too upset.
Or in the event that the event that Dexter Dennis is out, who do you think?
It's gonna be a lot tougher. I mean, you've got. It would be probably Boots. It would probably be Boots, and then we do a lot of switching, so I think you're gonna need to see Solomon Washington step up in that guarding position, kind of taking on that forward?
Hey, Solomon Washington's
Solomon, he's got
5-star stopper.
the 5-star
Five-star
stopper.
stopper.
He's got long arms if he cannot reach, and Brandon Miller draws fouls if he can keep out of foul trouble. Anderson Garcia, another one of those. Our forwards can guard guards pretty
And
decently.
Washington had a good game against Ole Miss.
Yeah.
I mean,
But I think if we're looking at a full healthy roster, I think Dexter Dennis is the key to Brandon Miller.
so what you were saying earlier about just like sitting him and not playing, if we lose this game, it wouldn't be the worst. It would be fine. It wouldn't. I don't think it'd affect the seeding at all.
No,
So I think this would be a great game for someone like Coach Williams to put someone like Solomon Washington on a dominant score and get him some reps against the number one dude in the nation when we go into the tournament.
Even if Dex is playing, he will, because they will get switched on.
Yeah.
Well, now
I think this would be some good work, some good practice for Solomon to guard someone like that for when we make the March Madness tournament and start playing these teams who have guys who can take over a game like that, And I think this would be good work, good practice, good game reps for Solomon.
The reverse of that, how hard do you think Bama's going to go in the game? Do you think they'll let some of their starters rest now that they have the SEC?
No, because I think...
Are they still playing for a 1 seed, or do you think they're locked in?
No, they're locked in. We're locked 1, they're locked 2.
No, I'm saying to the
No.
NCAA
that's what
tournament.
for NCAA. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think a loss to us doesn't drop them out of a 1 seed, but you also have to think
Could drop
about
them to
SEC
2 seed.
tournament. I think in college basketball, I don't think there's as much like resting
But
for a game.
yeah,
as, like,
no,
what-
you
like-
remember last year? I mean, A&M. It didn't matter what happened in the tournament. They already had the bracket pretty
That's
much
true.
decided before they went in there.
And that's
so
true. But again, I
It's-
think
I don't
in
know.
college basketball, I think most of the time, if your players are healthy, they're gonna play. You may kind of like sit someone a little more than usual, but I don't think it's like NBA where like
a Kansas win and a Purdue win against Illinois and against Texas. And if Alabama loses, that will drop them to 5 in the country,
You think?
taking them from the number 1
is-
seed. In terms of statistics, beating Kansas, beating Texas in Texas would be huge.
well, is
Purdue?
Houston?
Purdue winning will get them back to a number 1 seed because you have Houston's a lock at 27-2. UCLA's at 25-4. Oh, they play Arizona. So
That's a good matchup.
the 2, 3, 4, and 5 teams in the country right now are all playing for a number 1 seed.
It's gonna be a
They're all
fun
25
weekend of basketball.
24-5, and they're all playing really competitive teams. I don't see Alabama letting up at it. I see them playing because if they end up losing it, they're gonna have to pray that Kansas or Purdue also loses. However, those are very talented. Purdue, I don't see them losing to Illinois with Zach Edey on their team. Kansas could possibly lose and save them. However, I think Kansas is one of the most talented teams in the country, so that's going to be hard.
They are coming off a national
That's some
championship.
big dick energy, truthfully.
Saying they're
Brady Dick.
Oh gosh.
I was about to say, do you not think Kansas is one of the most talented teams?
I mean, and against no, they are.
Oh, I thought that's who you were.
No.
Okay.
They definitely are, and they can definitely make an easy run. And I mean, every team.
I mean, they have two. Yeah, I think they have. I know they have 2 starters for sure who are on that team last year.
Yeah, I mean,
They
again,
have
if you're at the
multiple guys who are
top
on
there,
that
there's
team.
usually a reason.
It's also
Yeah.
just Kansas.
Yeah, it's true. I mean,
Yeah.
It's a historically successful
That's all they
program.
got. so,
Yeah,
at the
that's
end.
true.
I mean, hey, football. It's
Hey.
a little bit.
Hey, they won what? Like 5 games in a row at the start of the season?
Yeah,
Nice.
Hey, they made a bowl game.
Nice.
But I think keys to the game to wrap it up, Bama, Dex needs to play if we really want to stop Brandon Miller. I think if he does, I think it's going to be a really interesting story. The 5th-year senior, former defensive player of the year in the AAC against the freshman phenom lottery pick. I think that's a really fun story to watch. Wade Taylor, any game he plays, if he could have a Wade Taylor game, like a Wade Taylor game where he could pull up from half court and say, screw it, the hoop's down there somewhere and just nail it, that would be huge. defensively, it's going to be a defensive battle. People sleep on Bama's defense, truthfully. Bama has a really, really good defense. Julius Marble versus Charles Bediako is going to be big. If Julius needs to stay out of foul trouble, that's an issue. He's kind of plagued him all of conference play, really.
Yeah.
He'll get like 2 quick fouls out for a half, then pick up another foul, and then get in the end of the games. But when he can stay out of foul trouble doing stupid fouls, he is amazing.
Yeah.
And so he'll be big. And A&M's one kryptonite they've really had is stopping three-point shooting because they get in rotation.
Mm-hmm.
They cannot leave three-point shooters open because Alabama is going to make threes. They are going to shoot threes. They are going to make threes. They have shot...
So, by the way, I figured out something. Go on.
I was going to say they've shot 876 threes this season.
Mm-hmm.
They make 10 per game.
Yeah. So I was doing some digging after our talk last night the other night about just 3-point shooting.
Mm-hmm.
I did some digging, and so Coach Buzz, before the season, I think over the summer, no, it was just before the season, he puts on a coaching clinic, and it's for all coaches, high school coaches locally. Some are invited. My high school coach went this past year, and I went out after and got a couple of drinks with him out at Northgate, and we're talking about Buzz and all that stuff, and I was like, what's some stuff that surprised you that he said? And it's the whole closing out on threes. So normally when guys close out, they keep their feet on the floor, hand up like that. Coach Buzz doesn't do that. He wants to test every 3-point shot because statistically people miss more if you jump for the ball. However, what's wrong with that is once you jump, there's something called a pump fake. Like people can easily just pump fake, step over, hit an open three, which what we've seen a lot, or a pump fake drive and hit someone else that's wide open and hit open three. And that's what we see so much, which, they miss more when you jump for the ball. However, you're giving up so many open shots.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I like the old school closing out. However, is this what teams are doing now? Whatever. But I agree with you, man. Like, you can't allow open threes.
Yeah, and that's the key of the game. Can't allow open threes. Dex will need to play to really handle Brandon Miller, or someone's going to have to step up defensively for that. I think Wade Taylor needs to be a great facilitator and make a Wade Taylor play.
Yeah.
Anderson Garcia needs to be that guy like he has been. Just the dude. Get not really racking up the stat sheet, but just being the guy that when things need to happen, you'll get things done. One thing A&M seems to have a struggle with is starting hot at home, which is interesting. And so I don't think we can start cold
especially against number 2 team in the nation. Yeah.
So I think I know it's kind of like orchestrating a perfect storm, but I think those are the keys to the game.
Yeah. I mean, guys, a lot of exciting stuff going on this weekend in women basketball, men basketball, college baseball, softball. I mean, every sport has something exciting going on this weekend. This podcast was definitely necessary.
100%.
I appreciate you, Bobby, for coming on the show.
No problem. Happy to be here.
You're an awesome guest, man. And that's all we have today. Thank you for listening. Share it. Repost it. Go check out a Maroon Life, a spring magazine. When they watch out for those. Those are about to come out. Great stories in there of these athletes and their lives, man. And I appreciate everyone that's on the show right now that's listening. Cade, Hunter, you are great as usual. Hey, signing out. Gig 'em. Peace.